First at 4, UAW strike update. The union's president expected to make a live appearance very soon. You will see it here live when it happens. And GM, by the way, just bumped up their latest offer. What does that foretell? We'll see. Here's Kim.
Another gloomy day with scattered showers in Metro Detroit. We'll talk about the weekend. Part of it looks good, part of it looks rainy.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good Friday afternoon. I'm Devin Scillian in for Karen Drew. First at 4, we expect that we are just about to hear from UAW President Shawn Fain on the latest update on where negotiations stand with the Detroit automakers. His latest live appearance will come shortly after General Motors revealed its newest offer to the striking auto workers. General Motors now matching Ford with a 23% overall increase, 10% in year one. General Motors also promising to reinstate a cost of living adjustment, or COLA. It says that combination increases worker pay by 30% over the course of the entire new contract. Of course, the strike has been over a month now. It's now day 36. Is the UAW moving closer to a deal? We expect to find out at any moment. We will join Shawn Fain's update just as soon as it happens, so keep it locked in right here. Other news at this hour, Clinton Township Police investigating 2 violent crimes this afternoon, including the shooting death of a woman killed with her 2 kids in the home. Police say they got a domestic violence call around 9 p.m. last night. They raced to a home on Woodward Street near 15 Mile and Beaconsfield. They found the woman inside with a gunshot wound, and she was pronounced dead at the scene. Police tell us they have taken her husband into custody. A live update on that investigation coming up on Local 4 News at 5. Clinton Township Police also investigating a serious stabbing. This near Metro Parkway in Groesbeck. One man in the hospital after he was found in an apartment complex on Farmbrook around 1:30 this morning. The victim in critical condition. Another man in that case is now in custody. Police say both men are in their 20s. They say the 2 men knew each other, though they have not commented on a motive or the exact circumstances surrounding the stabbing yet. Metro Detroit has been dealing with, of course, a lot of big power outages over the last couple of years, and now federal money is on the way to strengthen the grid. Michigan Senators Debbie Stabenow and Gary Peters have announced $150 million worth of investment to help the state deal with bad weather. DTE Energy receiving nearly $23 million to create a network of microgrids that will help with load sharing and hopefully faster restoration of power. Consumers Energy was awarded $100 million to upgrade circuit systems on federally designated disadvantaged communities. And American Electric Power getting nearly $28 million to upgrade their power grid. Luckily, not seeing any severe weather this time around, though rain is going to stick around into the weekend, at least part of it. Forewarned meteorologist Kim Adams standing by with our Friday night. Kim.
Well, we're still seeing some scattered showers, but also some periods of drying. As we go throughout the next several hours, we'll see more and more of that rain taper off. But if you're headed out tonight, maybe to a Friday night football game or out to dinner, still be prepared for some scattered showers. We've got pockets of heavier rain right now in parts of Macomb County, just in northern Macomb County, and then also over into St. Clair County, but scattered again throughout Metro Detroit. Beautiful fall color popping. Thank you, Karen, in Detroit, for this my pick of that fall color. Temperatures are only in the 50s right now. In Pontiac, it's 55, 54 in Mount Clemens, upper 50s at City Airport, 57 at Metro. Tomorrow, we start the day with maybe a little bit of rain, but it'll be tapering off as we go throughout the afternoon and evening, with highs reaching the mid-50s. We'll talk about the rest of the weekend coming up.
All right, Kim. We've got breaking news from the Middle East as 2 American hostages taken by Hamas have now been released. This story's been developing here just over the last couple of hours. We now know Judith Tyronon and her 17-year-old daughter Natalie are on their way to an Israeli military base. The office of Israel's prime minister confirmed they were handed over at the border. But still, about 200 other hostages are still being held. Today, Israel says it believes those hostages taken on October 7th are still alive. It is a very delicate and difficult situation for so many families. Meantime, the White House is releasing new information on a massive request for more aid to not only Israel, but Ukraine and other critical priorities. Price tag, $105 billion. The biggest line item, more than $61 billion of it to support Ukraine. Some of that money, though, will replenish U.S. weapons that have already been sent overseas. Israel would receive more than $14 billion, largely to help with its air and missile defense systems. Another $14 billion would go to the southern border to help with the immigration crisis. But the request faces an uncertain future in Congress. We'll, of course, track its progress. Right now, Kimberly Gill here with more developments in the Middle East. KG?
Yeah, hi, Devin. Good afternoon to you. The U.S. involvement in the Middle East is already growing. The Pentagon has ordered the Dwight Eisenhower Carrier Group to the eastern Mediterranean. It'll take a week and a half for it to arrive in the region there. Today, rescue crews are searching through the rubble of a Greek Orthodox church in the Gaza Strip. Officials say the historic building was hit while it was sheltering hundreds of displaced Palestinians. Hamas says at least 18 Christian Palestinians were killed. There's growing speculation Israel will start a ground offensive soon, but Israel says it does not plan to take long-term control of Gaza once it roots out Hamas militants. Right now, it's not clear who would run Gaza if indeed Hamas is toppled. More relief, meanwhile, supplies have arrived at the Egyptian crossing into Gaza, but it's still not getting through Israel. Israel agreed to allow some supplies into the territory 2 days ago, but the Rafah border crossing is still undergoing repairs. Yesterday, Egyptian authorities started removing cement blocks, trying to reopen the crossing. People in the Gaza Strip desperately need medicine, food, as well as fuel. It's not clear what goods Israel will allow to cross into the border if and when it's able to reopen. So, Devin, those are just some of today's developments. Our coverage will continue when we come back with Local 4 News at 5. For now, we'll send it back to you.
You bet. All right, KG. All of this complicated by a little bit of a vacuum in power here at home, because there's also breaking news from Capitol Hill, where the Republican Party has now dropped Jim Jordan as the nominee for House Speaker. Today, he lost the third bid to take the gavel. Republicans have, of course, that very slim majority. Jordan was losing support each time a vote was taken. It kept getting worse. This time, 25 Republicans voted against him. Centrist members of the party revolting because they don't support Jordan and because of hardball tactics. Some report harassing phone calls, even death threats have been made. Republicans now back to square one, 17 days after ousting the former Speaker, Kevin McCarthy. Seems like a long time ago, doesn't it? Another defendant has agreed to cooperate in the 2020 election racketeering case in Georgia. Attorney Keith Chisborough pleaded guilty to a felony today, just as jury selection was getting underway. He received 5 years probation, 100 hours of community service, but agreed to testify truthfully at any related future trials. That could be key. Chesborough was charged along with former President Trump and 17 others for their alleged efforts to overturn Trump's 2020 loss in the state of Georgia. Former president has pleaded not guilty and still is denying any wrongdoing. Some have called literacy the next great civil rights issue. Well, a new documentary called The Right to Read was just screened here in Detroit. Was brought here for good reason. A local student is featured in the film. Pamela Osborne caught up with him about his battle and where things stand now.
I think it's a lot bigger than me.
Jamarie Hall is a former DPSCD student who in 2016 was the lead student plaintiff in a lawsuit against the state of Michigan over the education he'd received.
But the main thing was the resources that we had, if we had any. So being in the classroom with textbooks that my mother had. My mother graduated in 1998. I was born in 1999. And we had textbooks from 1998 within my classroom. So knowing that we were missing out on 2 decades worth of education and still taking the same national standardized test as everyone else and being graded on the same proficiency levels as them when we were being set up to fail.
Hall won, and in 2020, a $94 million settlement was reached to help students across the state. But for his part, Hall is featured in the award-winning documentary, The Right to Read.
I think we're at this really pivotal point right now.
Dr. Leah Van Bell, executive director of 313 Reads, helped bring the film to community members and says that lawsuit put a magnifying glass on the issue of literacy.
All children do not have equitable access to literacy in our state, and teachers don't have access to what they need to teach it.
Statistics show students in Michigan face one of the lowest grade level reading proficiency in the country. The pandemic made things worse.
We are now where we were 20 years ago. And the gap between access to literacy for children of color and white children is growing.
Still, Dr. Van Bell says there are reasons to be encouraged. Currently, state lawmakers are considering 3 literacy bills, which have bipartisan support.
Part of it is demanding that folks who are educators, whether they're current educators or in teacher preparation programs, that they have access to training in the science of reading.
That's our Pamela Osborne reporting. Dr. Van Bell believes those bills aimed at improving student literacy wouldn't even exist without the lawsuit. Talks are still underway about how to best use that settlement money to benefit Michigan students. Well, a fast food settlement could mean some customers get cash back or gift cards. We'll talk about how much it's worth and what the popular chain is accused of doing just ahead. Also, fake human ashes, a funeral home investigation raising new questions for several families. But up first, new charges against the American soldier who ran into North Korea, including a shocking allegation involving a request on Snapchat. We'll have that, and we continue to await Shawn Fain's announcement from the UAW, the latest update on strike talks. Keep it right here on First at 4.